welcome to the first session at the 17th Annual Non-Dilutive Funding Summit. First session, we'll introduce to you FreeMind Investments. FreeMind Investments is a novel venture capital fund. It is a collaboration between the FreeMind Group and Daewoong Pharmaceuticals. I am Ayal Ronen. I'm the Chief Business Officer at the FreeMind Group, and I'll host the panel today. With me, we have Ram. Ram is the managing partner of the FreeMind Group, and he is also the founder of FreeMind Investments. From the Daewoong side, president of Daewoong Innovation Holdings, Mr. Dongkhu also goes by Thierry, making it much easier for us to pronounce. And he's also the co-founder and partner in FreeMind Investments. By way of background, the FreeMind Group has been around for over 20 years, helping companies, life science companies, win grants to fund research and development. Main sources include the NIH, DoD, BARDA, NSF, and others. The total awards are roughly $100 million every single year, helping clients. And the growing client base is a testament to FreeMind's long-term success, which brings me to my first question, Ram. Why investments? Tell us a little bit about that journey.
Sure, and thanks for hosting us. And hi, Thierry, great to see you again. Although we would have loved to be in person in San Francisco, I guess that's the best we can do right now. But going back to investment, to your question, Ayal, we go back about 5 years ago. We started seeing some trends, some linkages between our clients and how they did with the non-dilutive funding process, specifically the review process of their science conducted by the top researchers in the world through NIH or DoD, etc. And we had found statistically significant correlation between the scores received for the science, how well the science, how good the science is, if you will, and their future business performances. At that point, we've realized that ultimately there are three pillars in every investment. You want to make sure the company you invest in have great science, great technology, and that we got from the non-dilutive funding sources. And process reviewing the applications. Number two, you want to make sure you invest in great people. And FreeMind works with every company we work with for over a year. We get to know them very intimately. We get to really know them way beyond a single interview or a couple of presentations. And so we can attest to their management skills, to their ability, to how great this company is from a human value perspective. And then number three, of course, is the market and potential this company has. Realizing we have two of the three, we understood we have something real here, and we seeked out partners to work with us to put in the third pillar, and B, be able to join us in this very exciting journey of identifying new innovative technologies, supporting them all the way through success. So I think that was the real engine behind the whole thing, and we're absolutely thrilled to have Thierry personally and Daewoong as an organization partnering with us on this journey.
Mm-hmm. So what would make this investment platform unique? There are countless venture capital funds out there investing in life science. Why FreeMind Investments?
Well, I believe there are really two main things that are different in how we do things compared to other funds. Number one is the volume of pipeline. FreeMind on a regular basis works with about 250 companies every year. About 100 of them are new companies coming into our system. And we collect this data of reviews and of our own assessment of companies over years. So we have a pipeline of over 400 different clients and companies and technologies, close to 1,500 different projects and technologies, 400 plus companies that we have reviewed, that we have strong data about, that we know intimately, and that we have very, very strong attestment from the top researchers in the world attesting to the strength of their science. So number one is just how wide our net is. We cast an amazingly wide net, and we're able to then narrow it down to the absolute top ones to pick the cherries within this huge pile. So that's number one, the pipeline and how wide it is, and our reach to the market. I think number two, though, is also our platform or our format. We're not a standard fund in the sense that we have a pool of money available to us making decisions on investments for our LPs. We have a very strong, huge, in fact, backing by Daewoong, of course, and that's a great reassurance. But we welcome other investors to join the fund as well, and we allow to do that per a specific opportunity, per a specific investment or company we identify and believe is a good one post due diligence. And so I think the combination of having a very wide net cast, being able to look at hundreds of companies each time, being able to identify the very top ones out of the hundreds, and being able to bring in investors for each specific opportunity, really with no limit in theory. I think this makes us unique.
Mm-hmm. And then differing from a traditional VC, I assume you're referring to the cherry picking process. So what is that process? How exactly does that deal flow come about, and how do you narrow it down?
Right. So basically, through our standard process, within FreeMind Group, within the work we do with our clients, we get to collect data, of course, with their permission. We get to understand their data, their science, their knowledge, collect the scores, and be able to know what those top researchers, top key opinion leaders think of their technology and science. Every few months, 4 to 6 months, we look at our database and we prioritize them based on how well they did with the NIH process, with the DoD process, with the NSF process, making sure we look at only the very top companies, only those that got the best scores, only those that are with the best science available, even if they're completely under the radar, even if others have never seen them before. So and then we add to that our own perspective. We know them intimately. We know them very, very well. And so we're able to combine those two and narrow down 400 to about 20 or so. At that point, Thierry, his team, the Daewoong backing, and of course, Chris Kim, who's our partner as well, join in the process, and we start a full due diligence for each of those top companies. Now, each one of the top 10, 15, 20 companies is an absolute great candidate, but making sure, we can't unfortunately invest in each and every one, making sure we pick the absolute top ones, we go through a more traditional due diligence from that point on. So we've already narrowed it down very significantly from about 400 to about 15 to 20. And then the aim is to pick the absolute top ones, 1, 2, maybe 3 top ones in each cycle to actually invest into.
Mm-hmm. And just before I turn to Thierry, Ram, one more question. I guess kind of a great segue to Daewoong. Who are the investors? How do they use the platform that you described?
So, well, first and foremost, obviously, Thierry, his team, and Daewoong Pharmaceuticals. They're our partners. And they're not an LP. They're a GP, and they're partners in ours. Although this is not while this is not a corporate fund, we don't follow only Daewoong's interests. Definitely, their needs and focus and market interests are of interest to us as well. So Daewoong is the most important one, obviously. But in addition, other investors, both institutional and strategic, as well as high net worth individuals and family offices, are welcome to join per each specific opportunity. And I think we provide them with a great opportunity, because many times the institutionals will not have the ability to dig deep into a marketplace, will not be able to understand or identify even those companies that are way under the radar, that are very, very much starting out, but have great potential. We're able to, through our very unique process and database, to de-risk involvement or investment into a company in very early stages in very, very risky marketplaces. So that's number one, the institutionals. Other strategics obviously have other interests, and per a particular opportunity may decide to join in. We're in great contacts with all of the usual suspects, all the big pharmas and many other pharmas as well. They're looking at some of our pipeline, and they may join in as investors. But probably the most interesting portion is, as we all know, there's an abundance of money available, a lot of money available within the high net worth individual community and within the family office community. And those, while having a lot of money available for investment, definitely lack the expertise and knowledge that we've developed for over 20 years, close to a quarter century that we've been doing this. And so being able to provide them with huge opportunities, amazing opportunities that we're able to go through the due diligence completely for them without them adding additional cost to it, and de-risk substantially the investment opportunities presented them. I believe this allows them a very interesting position in a very interesting marketplace like the life sciences on the one hand, but a very, very risky one.
Mm-hmm. Great. Well, Thierry, I'll turn to you now. Curious to learn Daewoong's decision-making process. You made a decision to join FreeMind Investments. Can you tell us a little bit more about the value drivers behind and the decision-making on, once again, joining the fund?
So establishing the FreeMind investment with Ram was something not new that we have been discussing. So since 2019, we've been discussing about these opportunities and the strategy. But back then, it was kind of different model. And then at the time, we was only to join as a limited partner. But we have made progresses by time, and then we have decided that we can be a general partners so that the FreeMind investment and also Daewoong can be joint forces to screening and also doing the reviewing process and then making some strategic investment decision together.
Mm-hmm. So, and then I guess Daewoong have been investing and does do business development. So what is that, I guess, what is the philosophy behind your internal investment interests? What have you been doing up until now, and how does this change anything, or is this just an addition, or would you, I assume, continue to do your business development activities? And maybe just to kind of wrap up that question, how would you use FMI, FreeMind Investments, to execute on your strategy, philosophy, etc.?
Right. So from an investment point of view, Daewoong is investing mainly in biotechs and also some startups that has the high unmet needs, such as the cell and gene therapies, immunotherapies, and technology platforms. And then we are investing not only as the final investor, but as actually as the strategic investor, so that we would like to find some win-win points with the Daewoong Group, with the investee company. So the BD perspective, when we are making an investment, we are actively conducting traditional BD activities like M&A, licensing, and global launching of their products, pipelines, and also co-development of their pipelines. So by doing so, we are actually trying to maximize the opportunity, not just the financial, but also strategic for both companies. And where for this kind of activity we've been doing for the past for decades, but for the last 5 years we've been making direct and also indirect investment over $20 million to not only to the early stages, pharmaceutical and the startup companies. And then we have accomplished something like 33 open innovation projects with those companies. So I think this FreeMind investment opportunity is something that really unique for Daewoong Group.
Do you expect future collaboration between Daewoong and the companies you invest in? Maybe straight out acquisition, maybe commercialization rights, country specific, Asia?
Okay, so we are always thinking about first how to utilize our current pipelines when it comes to investing. So, and to second, how to create a collaborative model with the companies with the good technologies. So as mentioned earlier, we are focusing on strategic investment, such as the discovering new business opportunities, like utilizing Daewoong's R&D resources, and also the Daewoong's commercialization capabilities in the Asia or the Pacific territories. Also, for the early stage R&D assets, we are also thinking about licensing in some of the pipelines, or sometimes we can also even consider joint venture or co-development opportunities as well.
Great. Ram, I understand FreeMind Investments has made a first investment. Would you like to tell us a little bit more about that first investment?
Well, absolutely. We've actually officially launched a month ago, established FreeMind Investments a month ago. It was, as Thierry mentioned, a long process, but it ended up successfully about a month ago. And literally, turn of the year, 2 days ago, we've completed our first investment. FMI invested into Abalone Bio, which is a Bay Area life science startup that we're extremely excited about. And I believe Richard Yu, CEO, I think, of Abalone, is going to present later today. So you'll be able to hear a lot more about the company and what they do. But we're extremely excited, A, to have our first investment, and B, that it is at Abalone Bio.
Great. And Thierry, I guess looking forward at additional investments, what would be the ideal ticket size that you would anticipate FreeMind Investments would make?
Well, I think that the FreeMind investment model is very unique. So normally we are also participating some other fund opportunities, but they are normally unspecified or from the various subscribers. So we do not actually pinpoint some of the investment opportunities ourselves. But with the FreeMind, we can always discussing freely with the FreeMind investment with Ram and all the others. And then with that, I think we can come up with something like, because we are actually investing in early stage ventures, like 1 to 3 million USD per the company. I think we can invest in.
Sounds great. And Ram, what would be the total fund size? I know it's a tricky question, but I think it's one that is asked often.
Oh no, absolutely, and I appreciate that. As mentioned earlier, first of all, I think Thierry's response is absolutely spot on. I mean, we're, as mentioned earlier, in a somewhat different format. On the one hand, we don't have a pool of money available to the fund to make completely independent decisions on investments. And while 1 to 3 is the expected ticket size, it could go lower than that. It could go higher than that, and that would depend on other investors, other LPs, subscribers, as Thierry mentioned, joining particular investment. So the fund size, we have the backing of Daewoong, of course, and that gives us a lot of financial comfort. But the fund size itself, if you will look 10 years from now, say, on how many investment it has made and the total amount of money invested, I don't know to tell you how much it will be, because other investors will join in for particular opportunities that could grow these opportunities or these investments substantially compared to the 1 to 3 ticket size. And then when you accumulate the whole thing, it could go much, much higher. So I don't have a particular number I can actually give you as a fund size, but then again, this flexibility allows us a lot of maneuvering per each specific opportunity and with our investor network of investors.
Great. And I guess a question for both of you, and we'll start with Ram. Where do you see FreeMind Investments in 3 to 5 years? I guess in terms of deployment of capital, future fundraising, what do we have installed?
Well, I'll start, but I think our ideal position in 3 to 5 years would be to have about 3, maybe 4 investments a year made. Depending on our reach to our investor network, could go more than that. I think that'll be one. I think in 5 years, I would expect a much wider network of investors joining in for a particular opportunity, as it is an independent decision they make on the one hand, but we provide them the due diligence, the process, and the knowledge that no one else has. And to be perfectly honest, I really believe that this somewhat unique model of a fund, of a venture capital fund, being able to be flexible for the benefit of both the company we invest in and for the investors and their needs, I think will be much more common. I really think we innovate here and present a different model that others will be able to follow on as well.
Great. And Thierry, where do you see FMI in 3, maybe 5 years?
Well, first of all, I think that as I just mentioned, model is really unique, and then I haven't seen anything like this before. And then the strong point for FreeMind investment is that you are really, down to the, the details also companies, and then with that, also with the partners like Daewoong, we can also review, we can innovate the reviewing process as well. And then I'm so happy that we are the first one that are actually joining hand with the FreeMind Investment. And then I think that in about 3 to 5 years, there will be other companies that are actually following the FreeMind investment models. So we are the first ones, but we are the first of many, companies to come.
Great.
Absolutely.
And so I think since we've met, and I guess you're right, back in 2019, I think it's been a great connection, and we look forward to an excellent collaboration on FreeMind Investments. I think we'll conclude here. Thank you very much, gentlemen. We've got a full day ahead of us in the 17th Annual Non-Dilutive Funding Summit, hearing from companies, hearing from the funders. I'm sure it'll be fantastic. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ayal. Thanks, Thierry.
Thank you.
Thanks.